The number one player in the NFL is
Josh Allen.
I'm going to go with Pat.
Probably Myles.
I'm going to say 10.
Number 9, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Iceman. Bijan Robinson.
The NFL Top 100 Players of 2026 will release throughout the summer. These are my predictions for how the top 10 will turn out. Going in reverse order with this, starting off the top 10, 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey. You might remember just before the start of the 2025 season, there was concern about McCaffrey's calf. It was especially concerning considering the missed time the year before. While CMC went on to play in every game at 29 years old, handling a career-high 413 touches, while going for over 2,100 scrimmage yards and 17 total touchdowns. His 311 carries were also the most of his career, as he went for 1,202 yards on the ground, and he was basically a wide receiver 2 option for the 49ers as well, with 102 receptions. Players respect an Iron Man, and McCaffrey was that last season, and probably got a ton of respect from both sides of the ball for all that he does in Kyle Shanahan's offense. Next at number 9, Lions All-Pro Penei Sewell. Perhaps the Lions not being as good as a team last year will leave Sewell outside the top 10, but I think he might get the nod as arguably the best offensive lineman in the game last season. The former first-round pick made it 3 straight years as a first-team All-Pro at right tackle. The Week 3 Monday night win against the Ravens was a standout performance with the way he paved lanes for Detroit, led by both Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery at the time, to rush for 224 yards and 4 touchdowns. Sewell's work at right tackle is what would place him here, given last year's voting, but he's now moving to the blind side for Jared Goff. Number 8, Rams receiver Puka Nacua has quickly become one of the NFL's biggest headaches for opposing defenses. Remember, Puka was basically going toe-to-toe with JSN, who we'll get to later, for the receiving yardage crown, and for a bit it looked like he might break Calvin Johnson's single-season record. He ultimately finished 3rd behind JSN and CMC for Offensive Player of the Year. His 129 receptions led the NFL, and he's fearless over the middle while also making plays on deep passes. Going for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Seahawks defense in the epic December TNF game, though a loss for LA, was probably enough for Nacua to come to mind for the players voting. I'll say the rare Triple Crown winner as a wide receiver from 2 seasons ago is at number 7. Jamar Chase was without Joe Burrow for a chunk of last season, but he was still fed targets, an insane 185 of them, and put up numbers as just the 3rd player in league history with over 125 catches in back-to-back seasons. This is another situation where the team not having quite the success of other squads could hurt, but my guess is that 1,700-yard, 17-touchdown 2024 campaign was still in the minds of the players voting. And getting into the mindset of the voters is key for these predictions. The voting can take place starting around Thanksgiving. I bet at that time, Colts running back Jonathan Taylor was near the top of many lists. Remember, the Colts ultimately lost 7 straight games to end the year, but they were near the top of the NFL and lighting up the scoreboard for much of that first half, with JT a massive part of that. Taylor ran for nearly 1,600 yards and 18 touchdowns as the engine of the Indy offense. The highlight performance coming in Berlin, Germany, when he rushed for 244 yards and 3 touchdowns, including an 83-yard score and the game winner in overtime against the Falcons. Now to the top 5. I predict that Broncos cornerback Patrick Surtain, though he was only number 10 last year after winning Defensive Player of the Year and then missed time in 2025, finishes higher with the vote lagging to some extent for him. This guy's a lockdown corner. Everyone knows that. The Broncos star making the top 5 in the NFL Top 100 would show how feared he is around the league. At 4 and 3, the 2 quarterbacks I believe will make the top 10. I could see Drake May in there too after nearly winning MVP, but he might be hurt in the voting given the veteran quarterbacks across the league, plus the other young stars at the position like Caleb Williams and Bo Nix potentially taking votes. At number 4, my number 1 if I was ranking the league's top players is Josh Allen. You know, it's funny, I was looking into where the Bills quarterback ranked in past seasons. He's been in the top 10 3 times, and I think will be again this year. Was number 3 last year after winning MVP. The funny part is in 2020, after his second NFL season, when the people who hate him in the pre-draft process were saying he was a bust or wasn't good, or Buffalo needs a new quarterback or whatever, he was already voted the top 100 by the players. The voting process isn't perfect, far from it, but they can be ahead on things like this where media or consensus miss. It's like when Bo Nix made it after his rookie season. Anyway, yeah, I'll say Allen at number 4 and Matthew Stafford at 3. Stafford won NFL MVP, so that'd be 2 straight years with the MVP finishing 3rd in the NFL Top 100. He threw for over 4,700 yards, by far led the NFL with 46 touchdown passes, 12 more than the next closest player. No doubt playing in a Sean McVay offense with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams helps, but with injuries to other quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes, the veteran Stafford stood out as a top performer during his best regular season. Number 2, Myles Garrett, now with the Rams. So I predict we're getting 3 Rams players in the top 10. That star power, a big reason they're seen as rare, pretty heavy Super Bowl favorites. at this time of year. Of course, the former Brown just set the single season sack record with 23, barely escaping with it in week 18 against the Bengals, where it looked like he wasn't going to get it for a while. He can wreck games, and now he's playing on a Los Angeles team that could front run often. Finally, my prediction for the number 1 player in the NFL top 100 players of 2026, as voted on by the players, is Seahawks wide receiver Jaxon Smith-Njigba. He was awarded Offensive Player of the Year and won a Super Bowl with Seattle. He was just torching defenses virtually every week. 8th most receiving yards in a season in NFL history. I believe we'll follow a similar path to Saquon Barkley as the number 1 player in the top 100 for 2025. When he won Offensive Player of the Year and a Super Bowl, JSN would be a very deserving number 1. So that's how I see it. How do you think the top 10 is going to play out? Let us know in the comments, and thank you for watching.